Have you ever built something you were proud of, but realized at a point in your life it just no longer fit? That was me about 10 months ago. I was faced with this decision around my property, whether to sell it or not, and was struggling with the decision. There was a lot of emotion, there was a lot of doubt, there was a lot of confusion. And so for me, there was this wonderful model that I used. In this video, I'm going to share that framework for decision making, share the questions I asked myself, what the value of them were, and the perspectives I took to make that decision. How it transformed me from being fearful, full of doubt, not quite sure, wondering how everything was going to fit in, to being in a space where there's a clearing, there's a lightness, where I feel free to be truly, fully, and authentically me, not pretending, not doing something else that's somebody else's dream. As you hear this, is there one thing in your life that if you gave yourself permission to make a different decision, it would introduce a lightness, a freedom, an expansiveness that you're not feeling at the moment? Think about that while I dive into my story. So 10 months ago, I just quit my job to focus 100% on my coaching business, helping my clients, transforming them, helping them with their struggles and pain to create the freedom, the joy, and the authenticity they're looking for. At the same time, I owned a property in Malden, which is a 27-acre country retreat. It's got a vineyard, it's got a winery, it's got the orchard. It's a beautiful setting. I was living what sounds like the dream, living between there and our place in Melbourne. I also had a 10-month-old daughter. She was wonderful. She is wonderful now. She's almost 2. My family life was split between properties, and the big burden was the amount of maintenance burden, the effort around the wine business, that it was weighing me down. And I couldn't fit in my focus on the business, focus on family, and focus on this wonderful property. What I did is I used this framework of the Cartesian questions, originally identified by Descartes. They're highly powerful, very simple. First is, what would happen if I do sell the property? Second, what would happen if I don't sell the property? In terms of what would happen, I looked at what would I feel, what would I think, what would others and the people closest to me feel and think, what would we see and hear, and systemically, environmentally, what would we see collectively and on the bigger scale. The next two questions is, what would not happen if I do, and what would not happen if I don't? Takes a bit of getting your head around that last question, but I spent the time to consider it again from those 4 perspectives, from the quadrants, and the insights it gave me. What I saw and what I became aware of is how much in the past I've focused on being the achiever, solving things through doing more. Through doing more, I will belong and be accepted and be safe. Recognizing that it was working a bit counterintuitive, I was overworking, always focusing on the next task, the next chore to do, rather than being able to be fully present with my family when I was with them, fully present with my clients and the business. My mind was always distracted on something else that I felt like I must do. Looking at those questions, I made the decision, I sold the property. Now, 10 months later, I feel a sense of freedom, a lightness. I am no longer distracted on a regular basis with thoughts of what needs to be maintained, what's my next task, what's my next chore. I feel free to be truly, authentically, and fully myself, fully present in the moment. The freedom and space this has given me has been transformative. Something that I might have thought in the past is that this was a sense of giving up, but it wasn't giving up. It was choosing what was going to fit in my life, and that made all the difference. Let me leave you with a question. Is there one thing in your life, physical, mental, emotional, that you could let go of this week that would create space for what's next for you?